All right, time to talk some Texas football. Instead of doing like a deep dive into X's and O's, we got plenty of time for that, obviously, and we'll get into it. I want to piggyback on the conversation from yesterday about Brett Yarmark's comments that got Longhorn fans all riled up, of course, where he's talking to some fans in Lubbock, and then he makes a comment that Joey McGuire needs to basically repeat what he did last year and beat those Longhorns on their farewell tour out of the Big 12. This is the question I have for Longhorn fans out there. Specs text line 512-337-3776. And not even Longhorn fans, just fans of Hook 'em Up. Where's that Tech game now? Where is it among the most important matchups for Texas in this 2023 season? Like, is it in the top three?
Yes.
It is down in the top three for you?
Yes.
Wow, automatically.
I think so. As far as on the schedule.
It's obviously not Texas, Bama. Texas Bama that's probably number one for everybody. Texas really? That's not your top game.
No, not for me. I mean,
okay.
it's the most anticipated
Ty, is that
game.
your top
yes.
game? Yeah, I think that's my top game. I mean, I've heard Jerry Hamilton say that for recruiting, he said you could win the Big 12 or you could beat Bama. He said beating Bama will be better for recruiting than winning the Big 12. Like, he said that's how big of a game it is. It's huge. Huge. But you got what game do you have bigger than Bama?
K-State here. I
got K-State as number 2.
K-State against Texas on November 4.
I got K-State as number 2. I went back and forth between that and obviously Texas OU. I think Texas is better than Oklahoma, but I think it's a big game for Oklahoma this year than it is for Texas, strangely enough. But I'm with you. I got K-State as my second most important game of the season behind Bama. Because I think they're the defending Big 12 champion, and I think they are the second best team in the Big 12 behind Texas.
Maybe I'm being too literal and practical because it's a non-conference game. Nick Saban's lost one non-conference game in 15 years at Alabama. One time.
It doesn't happen a lot.
I guess I'm just not expecting him to win the game.
Tuscaloosa.
I'm not expecting. Yeah, Texas hadn't played a game in Alabama in 100 years. For hype and for all the. That everyone that's going.
Circumstance around it.
I mean, I get it. I get why it's a huge game. It's a classic matchup in college football. It's the first matchup against Alabama since the championship game at the Rose Bowl. Same time, if you lose the game, you're okay. Yeah,
you still can win the conference. And
I look at it,
So you're looking at it too pragmatically.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah,
because for me, every year the biggest game is Oklahoma. Every year. That Texas plays, the game in Dallas is the biggest game because it matters the most. And if you win that, then K-State becomes 2. And then for me, yes, it's between Tech and Alabama.
So you got Bama as 3.
Yeah, but again,
wow.
I'm not saying I'm right on that. I'm just in my head. I'm like, I'm anticipating the L, Rod.
That's basically
and if they win it, it's gravy. If they win it, it's gravy.
No, it's good. No, your practicality and your rationality there makes perfect sense.
You're right. It would be a huge.
Yeah, you're talking about goals, the goals of the team, which are win the Big 12, number one, and then after that, everything is gravy. We're talking about just after that, hey, if you win the Big 12, and then you're in the college football playoff discussion, that's great as a one-loss team, all that kind of stuff, or a two-loss team, whatever it may be. So I understand that. Hit Specs text line. One text says Bama, Oklahoma, K-State, then Tech.
Yeah.
Blind Longhorn fan says either 3 or 4 for him as Tech in terms of where they rank now in the priority list. And one texter says OU 1, Bama 2, TCU 3. Wow,
that game scares me, by the way.
Got to get that purple kryptonite off our back. Okay.
Sonny Dykes has never lost to Texas as head coach.
That's a hell of a stat.
I mean,
and that's why kind of K-State worries me a little bit because Chris Kleiman is a damn good coach, and he hadn't beaten Sark. He's been struggling versus, you know what I mean? Like Sark beat him in year 1, even though they probably shouldn't have because they were a bad team, and then beat him last year at home, even though they won the Big 12. I think Chris Kleiman's got that. Well, I don't think. I know Chris Kleiman's got that game circled like, all right, I got to figure this Sark thing out. We got to beat Texas. So that's a big game for him. Big game. So I don't know. I got Tech right now at I got Bama number 1. I'll go K-State 2, Oklahoma 3, and then I'll go Tech 4 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go Tech 4. I'll say that their trash talk it's gotten them up. It's gotten them up to number 4 now on my priority list of the most important games for Texas next season.
The reason the TCU game stands out because it's right after the K-State game. right? And it just gets you if you beat Oklahoma and Dallas in early October, you got Baylor. Don't sleep on the Baylor game September 23rd.
Oh, yeah. Dave Aranda, he had a good game plan initially last year.
Well, I mean, they had Texas. And that was a very good Baylor team. They ended up 6-7, yet come fourth quarter, that was a really tight game.
Yep.
Now, Texas is hoping they've improved and they're ready to go. But that Baylor game somewhat worries you. Same time, the TCU game right after the K-State game, because I think K-State is the favorite, not named Texas, right?
Yep.
They won it last year. They bring everybody back and on their offense outside of Deuce Vaughn, including their quarterback. The K-State game is one you just got to circle. That's a really, really big game in the Big 12. But the next week you're playing in Fort Worth, probably at night. I'm assuming they'll try to get that to a night game. I don't know. TV will determine that.
Depending on how TCU, how good they are.
And Sonny Dykes has had Texas' number, whether he was at Cal or at TCU. And Gary Patterson had owned Texas before that.
And I'll add to it, because I think you make a good point there about the timing of where TCU is. More you say right after K-State.
Yeah, right after.
You guys know what I've described as the schematic kryptonite for Steve Sarkisian. Turns Sark into Steven, like turning Superman into Clark Kent. That high three down defense. All three in a row, they all run it. K-State, TCU, and Iowa State. They all run it
well,
right there at the end of the season.
Have a game plan for
you
that
better be
by
ready
now.
for it, yeah, because that is the schematic nightmare stretch for Sark, because they all run the defense that has given him the most headaches.
It says, I rank the Tech game as number 10 because F them. That's why.
I get it. Listen, think about it, guys. There's so much animosity that is building here. We forget, and I'm shout out to Brian Davis, who no longer works for the Statesman, but did
works for the university now.
Works for the university. Texas One Fund, is it to work with them?
No, he works in the Cap. He works in the tower.
Oh, he works in the tower.
He does communications for the tower.
Oh, okay, big time.
No,
but he always did a good job writing too. But remember that article he wrote a few years ago, maybe a couple of years ago, where he remarked that some of the officials from Tech were upset because they thought CDC had given them a promise or some kind of agreed on a gentleman's agreement to play Tech once they left for the SEC. Do you remember this controversy? How about here it is. I'm reading from the Austin American Statesman article. In September 2021, Texas Tech Athletics Director Kirby Hocutt said he and Texas AD Chris Del Conte had discussed the idea of the Red Raiders and the Longhorns continuing to play in all sports, especially football, for 20 to 25 years after UT leaves the Big 12. Not only did they discuss it, Hocutt said, but UT leadership affirmed they would work with Tech to make sure the football series played annually since 1960 would continue. A year later, Tech officials are anxious that there's been no movement on that front. They said they believe UT leaders have told Longhorn alumni groups that there are no plans to continue a series with Tech. Hocutt's quote, "As I've talked to my counterpart at the University of Texas, while all the right things have been communicated to me, it's concerning that in the last couple of weeks, I've heard from individuals in Dallas and in Fort Worth and in Midland that there's different things being said from those folks representing the University of Texas that a scheduling alliance against Texas Tech is not going to happen." Chris Del Conte said Wednesday he believes the Longhorns playing other Texas schools is important, but he's not in a position to schedule future non-conference games until he knows how many conference games he'll have to play in the SEC. Ooh. Del Conte said, quote, "I wouldn't say it was anything more than the idea of playing each other. That's all way premature to me. The issues were really just about playing Texas schools is the way I looked at it, and Texas Tech is part of that. I mean, I get it." So the officials over there, they were a little upset about this from way back in the day. They thought, oh, Texas is going to continue this rivalry, and now they're trying to drudge up a rivalry. They're trying to make one out of nothing, and essentially maybe incentivize fan bases and everybody. They went to Governor Abbott with this thing.
Oh, I know.
They went to Governor Abbott to get him to advocate on their behalf.
Because Texas and A&M are going to be in the same conference now, and Tech is the odd school out as far as the state schools. So Tech's upset they got ghosted. They got ghosted.
Yes.
They're not getting a call back.
Well, I think they're upset about the miscommunication because Herc Hocutt is saying, and Tech officials are saying, CDC said, hey, it's going to happen, baby. I got it. I got you. I got you. All right, don't even worry about it.
And now he ghosted him. Now he's ghosting him. And
then CDC saying, whoa. It didn't go like that. I said, I think it's cool to play Texas schools, and there was a miscommunication. I just said, Tech, you're a part of that. So it's almost like miscommunication, or if I told a girl, I think I could one day fall in love with you, and then she takes that to mean I love her, then that was a miscommunication. But I didn't say I love you. I just said
now you're not picking up the phone.
Exactly. And like you said, then I had to ghost her.
Yeah. Now she's
like,
calling and you're not answering, won't respond to her text.
Yeah, so that's kind of happened with Tech in Texas too. So that's something else you throw in there.
The plot thickens.
Oh, man. Those so-called blue bloods.
Last time Texas Tech played in Austin, Texas scored 70 points.
70.
Now, last time they played in Lubbock, Texas Tech won. They went for it on fourth down like 100 times. And
6 of 8.
Won the game.